Hey everyone, it's Allie V, and I just want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. The best thing about it, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Then Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. The best thing, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome to Behind the Illness with Allie V. Let's get started. Hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of Behind the Illness. It has been a while since I've talked to you guys, and I am sorry for that. Basically, busyness, had to deal with some mental health days, all that kind of stuff, but I'm back, and I'm going to do a lot better about being more organized and put more episodes out there. I know a few of you have been asking about where's episode 2, so I'm going to do better, I promise. Just thank you for hanging in there, and let's do this. I really want to start this journey of having a podcast, so episode 1 was a big deal for me. I was really nervous, and I've had a couple people tell me you could hear it in my voice too, and I wouldn't be surprised if you could hear it in my voice now, but I'm going to get better, and thank you for just, sticking with me, and giving me more ideas, being patient, all that good stuff. Because, we're going to do this. I'm going to have this podcast. We're going to bring on guests. And we are going to do our part to break the stigma surrounding mental illness. So basically, what I want to talk about in this episode is just, obviously like the title implies, just getting behind the illness. And I think the way to start it would be to really talk about mine, maybe until I bring some more guests on here, because I've got some guests that, we have different, mental illnesses, and, it'll be really cool to see what it's like to live, in their lives. So I want to talk about what it's like in mine. So I should tell you, in I think 2014, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder and social anxiety. And I had no idea what social anxiety even was. I had never even heard of it really. But when I went and, kind of researched it a little bit after I was diagnosed, it just described me perfectly. Because when I was little, so I have like a mental block from before I was 5 years old. So from 5 years old on now, I'm 29 now. I don't like being in public. It gives me panic attacks. I can't stand it. I love people, but I also feel like I'm scared of them in a way. And when I was little, I wouldn't speak. I didn't talk to my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my grandparents, school teachers, classmates, doctors, anybody. Only place I talked was at home. And it was weird because and this actually happened one time, but my uncle walked into our house. He was there visiting, and I didn't know he was there, so I was just talking in the living room. He was in the kitchen. I walk in the kitchen and I see him, and I clammed up immediately. And it's not like I did it on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose at all, because I wanted to talk. I wanted to be normal, but I just couldn't, and it was difficult. It was terrifying. And also because of that, I was pretty badly bullied at school. I'd say even at church, anywhere, any other place other than my little safe place at home, I was bullied because of it, because I wouldn't talk. And classmates in school would, blame me for things, which I wouldn't do anyway because I was a good kid. It was just that I was extremely shy. But they would, blame me for things here and there because I know I wouldn't speak up for myself. And there was one time that a teacher, when I was in 7th grade, because I started talking in school when I was in 8th grade. So I was 14 years old. And in 7th grade, a teacher called on me. I don't know how to describe this without just straight up. Okay, I'll say this. She was not my favorite. It seemed like she didn't like me at all because I would get so anxious in her class that I wanted to go home. And I would. And I would just pretend like I was sick. Or it was that I was sick, because if you don't know, anxiety can give you, stomach problems. So, and I had a lot of those when I was a kid too. And, but I went to her class one day and she called on me, and she knew that I wasn't going to say anything. And it still really stinks that this happened, but she called on me and I started crying. And she just said, okay, go to the principal's office. Like I was in trouble. It wasn't like a sympathy type of situation. She was just tired of it, I guess. And so I went to the principal's office, and I saw the assistant principal. She sent me to the nurse. No, she sent me to the guidance counselor. Guidance counselor sent me to the nurse. So I essentially was seeing a counselor and what they consider to be speech therapy, and neither of them worked because I was terrified. And I was terrified to even be in that situation, and it was because of that teacher. And no, I'm not going to say her name. But I was terrified. And then in 8th grade, I actually had a teacher. We had to write a report, and then I don't remember what it was about. I don't remember. But we had to write a report, and then we had to present it in front of the class. And I'm like, okay, this is my worst nightmare. It is my absolute worst nightmare. Like, it's never going to end. It's not going to get easier. It's just going to keep going, and I'm just going to fail in life. That was my way of thinking at that time. And but she took me out of the room one day, and she said, just look at me. Stand up in front of the class, just look at me and take your time. It doesn't matter if you stumble through it. It doesn't even matter if the class can't hear you, as long as I hear you and you just get through it. And I'm going to be patient, and we're going to get through it together. And I remember, I was like, man, I can't do this in my head. I can't do this. But she walked me in there. She said, go ahead and sit down, and you can be last. And then she called me up there, and I remember I took a little while going up there because I was so nervous, but I got up there, and she had a podium up in the front, and she made me turn her way because she was at her desk, and she said, just look at me, forget the class, and if you have to stumble through it, you stumble through it, doesn't matter, let's get through it. So I did, and I remember I got through it, and it was terrifying. And I remember looking at the class one time, and I don't even remember if anybody was even interested, but it was like, in that moment, I didn't care because I was actually doing this, and this was huge. And I got through it, and I got 100 on it. And it's like maybe maybe like a day or two after that, I felt like I could talk. Like, I felt like it was like, I don't even know. Like, a whole weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I started talking, and then I was talking in every class even. And I'll never forget that teacher, because she helped me. And I don't know if she even realized how much she helped me, but she did, because she actually showed that she cared. And that's a big reason why I don't. It's not that I don't trust teachers, but it's like so many of them like failed me or treated me like an experiment. And then there's just a few of them that treated me like I was a human being that just needed some help, you know? And so, I got through it, and that's really when I started talking. I started talking at church, I started talking to aunts and uncles, probably not long after that. I really don't know. And now, I still have social anxiety, of course, but, and it really keeps me from, being able to keep a real job, as does the depression. And, so it's difficult. So I have a list of questions that I got from a website, that you can ask, like, your loved one or your friend, to better understand their illness. I actually have them written down. I'm going to answer them about my illness, which is depression and anxiety. Those are my officially diagnosed illnesses. So, the first one, I really already explained, but the first question is, can you help me understand what it's like living with your condition? And, I know a lot of people know what it's like to live with depression. Some days it's hard to get out of bed. Some days it's hard to even shower, brush my teeth, get dressed, even take the dogs for a walk. Some days it's really hard to do any of that. And especially here lately, in my area, it's been raining a lot. And not even just the rain, but just because it's so gloomy outside, that affects our feelings and our emotions and depression. When it's sunnier outside, obviously, most of the time we feel better, and that's how I am too. So, I live for sunny days, because I know that there's still a chance I can be depressed, obviously, but there's a little bit less of a chance because it's not gloomy outside. But anyway, I ramble. But I gotta take medicine every day, and I hate it. It's not that I'm ashamed to take medicine, it's just something that I have to remember to do, if that makes sense. And some days I forget, and I'll forget it altogether, or I'll take it late. And then that's really all it is for me, is just like remembering my medicine. And I've been taking medicine for 5 years now. Well, almost 6 years now. So you'd think I wouldn't forget, but I do. And, being one of those people that has such severe depression that they can't hold a job, that's a little, I don't know, debilitating, because I feel like, and I shouldn't compare myself to others, but I feel like the people that I grew up with, like in school and stuff, they all have jobs, and they're got kids, family, all that stuff, and I'm not one of those people. But it doesn't bother me as much as it used to, because now I'm just like, you know what, I'm going on my own, at my own pace, and I don't want kids anyway, so it's like, that doesn't bother me, of course. So depression is hard to live with, and there's more to it. And if you want to talk about your depression, man, leave some comments. You can do a guest blog for me on my website even. I'd love to do that, and you can tell your story, or you don't even have to go in depth with your story, or you can just talk about really just daily living with depression. I think that would be a good little prompt. Um, so yeah, do that. Contact me and you can be a guest blog on my website. Living with social anxiety is a little different because everywhere I go, right down the road from my house is a little dollar store, and I go there a lot just for, little snacks here and there. And I can't even go by myself. I have to have, like, a niece or my mom or my sister, somebody to go with me. Same with, like, Walmart. I cannot go by myself. Lately, I've been using the grocery pickup, and that's been a godsend. But when I actually go in the store, I absolutely have to have somebody come with me. I think I've been to Walmart by myself maybe once a long time ago. And I still to this day don't know how I did it. Um, but I think it was just once. I've been to the dollar store a couple times by myself. When my mom was sick, I went to go get her some stuff to help her feel better. And I go to therapy all the time by myself, but I know my therapist. So it's weird. It's like I can't do anything by myself, but I feel like I want to and I need to because I'm a grown adult. I need to be able to do stuff by myself, but it's like I can't. And I don't really know how to ever explain it. And I don't think that my family is tired of me, but sometimes they don't feel like going. They don't feel like going to the store, so I have to just put it off because I can't go by myself. And it's hard. It's hard to live with, knowing that sometimes I feel like I'm a burden, but at this point in my life and understanding a little bit more, I'm working in therapy towards, trying to kind of go places by myself. Here and there I can. It just depends on what the place is that I'm going. But man, like Walmart, like any store, I can't go by myself. There are a few more questions from this website, and I will post them on my Facebook page just so you know. But I'm going to skip down to the last one, and it says, how has living with this condition shaped who you are today? And I can answer that in a positive way. Um, we as in, myself and my parents, we have a better understanding of what really the problem was when I was a kid, because it was social anxiety. And knowing that I was having suicidal thoughts at 6 years old, I thought that was normal. So growing up with all of that, it has shaped me into let me say this. Before I started getting help, I was a mess. And I was working this job where some days it was fine, other days I wanted to come home and cry, and I did. And yeah, that's normal, but it's like I was also getting bullied at that job. And then I actually got fired from that job for other reasons. And I went from other jobs after that, and then I realized I can't do this. It's like I'm maybe not meant to work. Or maybe not that, but that I just can't. I can't. So, really after I started getting help and I started figuring out who I'm supposed to be and what my purpose is, it's shaped me into, one, I think, a better person because, years ago in school, yeah, I was getting bullied, but I feel like sometimes I was a bully too. And that really hurts my heart. It wasn't, I can't say it was on that same level that I was getting bullied, but I was just mean and I was really stupid. I was really ignorant to a lot of things. And now I'm open minded. I pay attention to how other people feel or how they might feel. So it shaped me in a better way because of that. It's helped me find my purpose in the world, and that is to be an advocate for mental health. It has shaped me into a person that wants to be somebody and wants to do better for myself. And it's shaped me into a person that has more hope. I guess I can put it like that. I have more hope. I'm in college. I'm going to graduate in November, that blows my mind just by itself. And that's helped me become this person that it's like, I want to find out more information so that I can share it with others. And I can be I guess, a better influence, I guess. And, just be the kind of person that I was meant to be, and that's supposed to be an advocate for mental health. And it's supposed to be a friend to others and support others and just want to see people happy and whatever else, So despite all of the bad stuff that comes with depression and anxiety, honestly, and I know, and I say this knowing that I am difficult sometimes, with certain requests from my family or whatever, because I also have OCD, so that's a little difficult too. So knowing that I'm difficult sometimes, it has still shaped me into a better person and a hopeful person and a hard worker and focused. And I know that I can't be perfect, but I strive for that perfection. And some days are harder than others, of course, but I'm going to wake up the next day and know that, okay, what kind of adventure is life going to hand me today? And let's see how we can handle it. Let's see how we can tackle this. Because I don't really see things as challenges anymore. I see them as obstacles. So, and honestly, that has to be something that I've had to get used to, is just changing that mindset from, okay, everything is not against me, so I'm just going to take it one day at a time, even 1 hour at a time. I still have a lot of problems with it. I talk to my therapist about it pretty much weekly, that really I feel like I don't get the respect that I deserve and everybody's against me, and I sometimes, that old mindset comes in and it feels like, yeah, you're the victim. You're the victim. And you don't have to be the victim. You can I can't say just face it, because it's not that easy. But just, work hard. Keep your eyes on what you have to keep your eyes on. And don't pay attention to other people, And that's basically what my therapist says too. It's like, don't pay attention to how they think about what you're doing, how they feel, what they say, all that stuff. Because what they say, what they do, how they act, has nothing to do with you. It has something to do with them. So I'm working on that. But that is basically how it's like living with depression and social anxiety. So, but if you have any more questions, of course, you can just email me or, ask me on Twitter or Facebook or anything like that. And I'll be happy to answer, because social anxiety is not really an illness that a lot of people really know about. And they might know about it a little bit more now, but they don't really understand it. And especially somebody like an extrovert, they're not going to understand it at all. So, I'm always happy to answer questions just to give you a little more insight to what it's like living with it, because honestly, it's not fun. And it's difficult to live with. It is. But I want to thank you for listening. Episode 2, it was just something that just kept, kind of tapping me on the shoulder like, hey, you need to record episode 2. You need to record episode 2. So, like I said, I promise I'm going to do better. Episode 3 is going to be coming really soon, and we're going to keep the train rolling. So, thank you again for listening. And if you have any questions, any comments, of course, just leave it in the comments of wherever you're listening to this. Or you can go on my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/written by Allie V. You can go to my Twitter account and talk to me there. That's at written by Allie V. You can go to my website, writtenbyalliev.com, and leave me some comments there. Whatever you feel comfortable with. Leave me some comments, leave me some questions, and we're going to keep this train rolling. And if you want, before I forget, if you want to be a guest on the podcast, email me or leave me a comment in the contact on my website, and I'll be happy to work with you on that. And if you want to be a guest writer for my blog, like I said, email me, and I'll be happy to contact you about that as well. And let's keep it going, guys. Share, keep sharing, keep liking, keep sharing, keep commenting, because we're slowly but surely breaking that stigma. And it's important, because there's the stigma surrounding mental illness is still just as horrible as it has ever been, because more people are understanding it, but a lot of people still aren't, because they just don't want to. So let's keep it going. But thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time.